Thank you for staying up late with us. We have a great program planned for you and some great guests tonight here on The Factor Uncensored. Let's get right down to business. This is an important reminder tonight. Men can also be victims of sexual assault, in case you didn't know. An actor says he's still processing what happened to him after a woman grabbed him inappropriately on a live stream. This happened Sunday on a Twitch live stream for an influencer named Ty Jones.
Look at how uncomfortable he looked. Look how uncomfortable he looked. Now, if the roles were reversed, we'll be called aggressive predators. Charges will be pressed. Men will be in jail. I mean, although some men may like this, some men may like this aggressive behavior in women, not all men want to be touched. Not all men, unless they feel like some type of attraction or chemistry with you, then they might, you know. But I think people need to understand boundaries. You know, let's look at this.
Actor Michael Rainey Jr., who is from Power, can be seen in the background when a woman.
And I want y'all to listen closely to what the trauma therapist is going to say. Listen closely.
Who has been identified as James' sister, walks up to him and appears to grab him by the private area. You can see it on Rainey's face. He looked very uncomfortable by the encounter. Today, he released a statement saying he's in shock and that, quote, sexual assault is never okay regardless of gender or status. We're all human and we should respect each other. Most importantly, we should respect ourselves. Joining us to talk about it, trauma therapist Chow Win. So Chow, when you took a look at that video, what went through your mind?
Well, the reaction on his face, the disbelief and the freezing, that's considered a trauma response. We either fight, flight.
And I mean, he was a guest on Ty Jones' stream. He knows that's his sister. One reason he was shocked because he didn't expect it. The second reason he was shocked, he basically had that look on his face like, bro, y'all seeing this? Get your sister, man. Hey, come get her, bro. This ain't right. And she kept holding on. You see how she just kept grabbing that man? And he pushing her hand away, looking uncomfortable. She just in his face like, you know. I mean, that's some real serious behavior.
Freeze, we fawn, and it looked like he was freezing. He didn't know what to do. He was touched inappropriately. That is sexual violence. And men are victimized by sexual violence as well. 1 in 4, they say, in their lifetime. It's a spectrum. It can be anything from touching to penetration.
And so how do you make the public and people in general take that seriously? Because you think of a male, you should be able to handle it. You should be able to walk away or confront the person and say, don't do it again. But there should be
recourse. There should be accountability. Look, when a man is touched inappropriately and we live in a culture that's...
And then see, by she saying that, it's some people out there that say we're wrong for saying it should be recourse or accountability or justice or something. Some type of repercussion for what happened. But men are victimized all the time. Remember not too long ago, this man was, I guess, supposedly looking at a woman in the gym while she's doing TikTok, and she's working out. I mean, come on. They blew all that out of proportion, as if that man was trying to assault her or wanted her or making sexual advances. And I think one other TikTok came out. The man wasn't even looking at the woman. His eyes were kind of like in that direction, but he wasn't focused on her, you know. And then someone wear that skimpy stuff to the gym. I get it. You want to be comfortable. You want to, you know, work out and feel free. But at the end of the day, some of you wear it and you go in front of these guys and bend over in the most inappropriate ways. Some of you don't even be working out. You just be bending over for the camera because you recording. As soon as a man make a comment or say anything, then you being sexualized. It's just like when people do OnlyFans. The women do OnlyFans, right? We were just talking about this with some coworkers a few hours ago. It's like they put that content out there. They show their naked bodies and they do all type of things to themselves. But then they tell men or even other women, don't sexualize them. You're sexualizing yourself. We're engaging in your content, huh? And you're sexualizing yourself. When you got heterosexual men looking at beautiful women and they're naked and doing things with their bodies, the natural reaction is to be turned on. Same way with any other sexual preference. The natural reaction is to be turned on or trying to make some type of advance. It's not us initiating the advance, you're already advertising what you want to show me. So, I mean, we thinking, or anyone thinking, that since you're being paid to view your body, you're gonna want to be paid to do other things. You gotta clarify that, or choose another career path, because ain't no way of getting around not being sexualized. You're sexualizing yourself when you're advertising it. You know, it's just crazy. It's like going to Walmart, buying a shirt, and the shirt is there, and you pay for it, or you pay for it, but you can't even try it on because some way the clerk feel like you're using that shirt or over sexualizing that shirt. It's weird to me, you know. I mean, anyway, let's look at this. I'm sorry.
Says men have to man up, and there's this issue that, you know, men should be the strong one. It creates a lot of shame and stigma. A lot of men don't even speak up about being sexually violated or a victim of sexual violence because of the cultural stigma and shame around the message that, oh, if you're going to be sexually assaulted as a man, it's okay because you're a man, or you should have spoken out or gotten tough. I mean, we do see these cases. Men are victims of violence. They do come forward, and when they come forward, they often say, are you sure I can talk about it? Are you sure I can address it? Because they're embarrassed. They don't know what to say. They freeze.
And when you have a case like this, when initially
Some of them are embarrassed because, I mean, growing up, I mean, as a male, if a woman did this to you or wanted to give themselves to you, you may not be, per se, homosexual, but you're just not ready for that yet. If your friends or homeboys or uncles or somebody find out that these women or whoever wanted to give themselves to you and you decline, then you automatically be labeled as either gay or a punk or, man, go get that P-U-S-S-Y, go get that, you know. And, you know, even if you feel uncomfortable with doing it, you end up doing it anyway because of peer pressure alone. So when men get assaulted in this way, they kind of are embarrassed to talk about it. They don't want to get that pushback from other men per se, or maybe some women that's ignorant, calling them out of their name, talking about them, downing them, and you know, making them feel like they're less than a man because they're speaking up on something that happened to them. I mean, this is a weird time we live in. But anyway.
the one who held the live stream online, he was like, what's the big deal? Obviously, it was his sister. What's the big deal? I don't see what the problem is. He walked that back later and said he would never condone anything like that. And a lot of people are like, I mean, you know, what's the big deal? What's the big deal?
What's the big deal is somebody touched somebody else without his consent. We have to do a better job of talking about consent, right? This is my body, this is your body. You're not allowed to touch it without my permission. And it's unfortunate that his initial reaction was, what's the big deal? That is, to me, an imprint, a reflection on sort of the cultural stereotypes when it comes to men and women and sexual violence.
And of course you have that double standard there, because people would have been up in arms if it was a female, you know, if she was grabbed in a private area like that.
If she was a female, if that was a female that was grabbed, we're probably going to bring the police in. Here we're talking about it, and I'm glad you're giving people a platform to talk about it. But you're right, the standards are not the same. They're not equal. She might have been, the police might have called, there was an investigation here. It's like, and the poor actor, what did he say? I'm still processing it. He's still in shock. He froze. And he might have to suffer the ramifications because it went so public. I mean, listen, the aftermath of sexual violence is the same for men and women. PTSD, anxiety, depression, avoiding places, flashbacks, nightmares. Can you imagine having to live with a lifetime of that? If you're a man, it doesn't matter.
And do we think the definition matches the term? I think a lot of people lose it there, because if you just touch someone, then you say that's sexual assault.
Right.
And I said just, but if you touch someone, they'll say that's sexual assault. When I think of sexual assault, and when many of us think of sexual assault, and you hear it, you think of rape or something like that, not touching someone. Do you think that's part of the problem?
It is, and this is an opportunity to continue to educate people about sexual assault. It's a spectrum. It starts with touching, it ends at rape, and it, you know, Anybody can be a victim of sexual assault, sexual violence. It's an act that is performed without your consent.
And is it part of our problem as men who say, look, you should be able to handle that, you know, chin up?
It is the cultural stereotype of masculinity and what we call toxic masculinity. You know, man up, do this. We've got to do a better job of talking about this at a very young age, talking about healthy behaviors and how we treat each other. Like that actor said, just as human beings, equal respect.
And a lot of fathers and mothers have this conversation with their daughters. Do you think it's something that now should include their sons?
It should have included their sons long ago.
But we know historically it has not.
It has.
And he's right. Historically, it has not been included with the sons. But I mean, I done seen stories online where people saying that they lost their virginity at 13 and 14 years old, 15 and 17 years old, to a woman 22, 23, 24, 30 and up. And some men, I mean, some of them I see them say, hey, well, you know, what was these teachers and what were these women that when I was growing up, I would have been experienced. But at the end of the day, it's still sexual assault. It's still wrong because one party is underage and the other one is well experienced. And some men have had traumatic trauma embedded into them as they grew up, even when they pursue marriage and other relationships because of these situations. And they talk about it now. But we're supposed to take it on the chin, a lot of them. You know, someone's supposed to man up and don't say nothing about it or brag on it, or, get your daps up from your bros and saying, hey, man, that was cool, bro. You got with that girl, man. She's 23, bro. You were 15, but I mean, for some people, it's okay. They feel like it's okay, even if it happened to them. But then you got some that lay in their bed at night and think about that moment. It was scary for them. They didn't know what was going on. They don't know what's happening to them. They don't know what all this means. They don't know what they're doing with their stuff. Putting their stuff places on another person's body, and they don't know. Make it so bad. What if that person that did that to those young men had an STD? Now that person gotta deal with AIDS at 13, or go through the experience of having herpes or gonorrhea or something at 13 or 14 years old because, well, somebody decided to take their grown butt instead of going on a dating site or being with somebody their age, find this underage boy or girl and just basically violate them. I mean, come on.
And it continues to not. But we've got to talk to girls, just as we talk to girls about taking care of their bodies and protecting their bodies, we have to talk to boys about the same thing, because by and large it's happening.
Now, if you're caught in a situation like this, child, that we saw Michael Rainey in this incident, how would you handle that if you were Michael Rainey?
I think he handled it the best he can, which is being forthcoming.
Once you have your bearings, put it that way, and you're not shocked anymore. Right. That person is still there, still being aggressive. How would you handle that?
Oh, to say no, you mean? In that moment? He froze. It's a trauma response. That's what his limbic system went into. He didn't do anything wrong. He did come back and say, look, it's wrong. I'm not sure if he could have done anything more than he did. He was just shocked. And we see that very often. There's one other point I want to make, and people get so confused about this. Look, sexual violence also creates sexual arousal. That doesn't mean you wanted it. It means your body says, oh, I'm aroused. And it gets very confusing for men who may get aroused.
Wow, she just said something right there. I mentioned earlier a few minutes ago that, you will get aroused and all that good stuff, but wow. It can be an instance where you don't want it, but because of what's going on, your body naturally get aroused. So to that person, it may seem like, oh yeah, he liked it. To yourself, you might seem like, okay, I want it, but in your mind, like, this is wrong, I'm uncomfortable. You still have PTSD afterwards, trauma afterwards. You got to deal with going to therapy and all of those good things. All of those good things in their respectable places, they're good. They have them in place for you to go to therapy. But like she said, we should speak about this stuff to the young females growing up and our young men is growing up.
because they've been sexually violated. Even for women, we see that. So we've got to do a better job of just educating our public that just because you were sexually aroused or you froze and you didn't do anything doesn't mean that was consent.
All right, Chow Win, thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored tonight. Always good to see you.
Thank you.